Okay, and welcome back, folks. Professor Almeida here to walk you through the Participation 3 activity in COSN 5. In this exercise, you're going to be using Packet Tracer to build a small network. Now, learning to use Packet Tracer is an important skill if you plan on taking the Cisco track. If you are taking Cisco Networking Academy courses, you will be working with Packet Tracer at some point. What is Packet Tracer? It's a simulation tool. We can use Packet Tracer to build a small network. We can troubleshoot network issues, whether it's a misconfigured PC or a misconfigured Cisco device. We can also simulate larger networks. So being able to use Packet Tracer is important if you are going down the Cisco route. I'm going to show you where to find Packet Tracer, how to get started with it, and then get into the activity all in this video. So if you need to hit that pause button, it's there. Now, if you've already installed Packet Tracer, or if you are in the COS labs, you can just skip straight ahead to the actual Packet Tracer activity. All right, let's go ahead and get started here. You can see that I'm using a Linux laptop at home, and I have Windows 10 open in a virtual machine. The reason for this is because Packet Tracer runs best in Windows, and in my past experience, Packet Tracer gave me a lot of trouble in Linux. Now, if you're a Linux user and you can get Packet Tracer working, that's great. But if it doesn't work, that's where the fun begins, because then you have to do Google and forum searches to try to figure out if there are any workarounds and all that. So trust me on this, Windows is the way to go here. If you're a Mac user, I don't really have an opinion. If you can get Packet Tracer working, that's great. Let me know about it. Okay. So here is our COSN 5 class. Your first stop is in the course introduction module. Choose student resources. Scroll down a little bit, and here are the Packet Tracer resources. Now, you don't need to take the intro class. You just need to download a copy of Packet Tracer. For most folks, that is the 64-bit Windows download here. Okay, so make sure you get your copy of Packet Tracer and install it on your system. Again, if you are doing this from the COS labs, you already have Packet Tracer on your system. Okay. So once you've installed Packet Tracer, launch it and then log into your Netacad account. The reason for this is because if you try to open up our activity, you're going to get a big pop-up asking you to log into Netacad. There's also a guest option, but Cisco really wants you to use your Netacad account, and that guest option has quite a number of annoying hurdles. So log into Netacad and then check the box to keep yourself logged in before you start our activity. Okay, let me show you where to find the Participation 3 activity. Believe it or not, we've already gone through the participation activity if you remember chapter 6 here. Okay, if we launch chapter 6 and go to 6121, it's this very activity right here. You can download the instruction files and the Packet Tracer file itself. I'm just going to choose the latter. I'm making copies of this available to you in Participation 3. So if you scroll down a little more, there's Participation 3. Again, I'm making the copies available to you. At this point, we can minimize our browser and go right into the Packet Tracer activity. Again, if you need that pause button, it's there waiting for you. Okay, first things first, go down into the taskbar and go to the user profile. This is where you want to put your name. Okay, I'm going to use Professor Almeida. Click OK, and then yes to reset the activity. Again, you want to put your name. So this is Packet Tracer. Here are the same set of instructions in this floating dialog box. You'll notice that we have a timer going here and we have a completion rate. If I choose check results, I can see exactly what's being scored under assessment items. So you'll see that we have 2 PCs. We have to enable DHCP, Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. And then for the server, we have to set up the IP address, subnet mask, default gateway, and the DNS. Okay, so those are the items being scored here. So what are we doing? Again, we're going to configure the two PCs here to use DHCP. So we have PC0 and PC1. We're going to configure static addressing on the server. We're going to use ipconfig to get the host IP information we need, and then we'll use ping to verify connectivity. So in step one, they want you to look at the topology. Again, we see we have two PCs and a server. All of them are connected to this switch. This switch is connected to this router, and from there we have the corporate cloud. Okay, we're not going to get too much into the cabling as far as straight through versus crossover. That's more for COSN 10. The idea here is just learning how to use Packet Tracer to build a small network. Okay. The green triangles tell you that the correct cabling was used, and at a physical level, they're able to see each other. Okay, let's get started by configuring DHCP on the PCs. We'll start with PC0 here, and I'm going to move the window like this. And you might find yourself doing this, by the way. You might have to move these windows around. With PC0, go to the desktop tab and then choose IP configuration. And all you have to do is just switch to DHCP. You'll see the IP address being requested, and now we have an IP address assigned. So PC0 is 172.16.1.1. Here's the subnet mask and the default gateway. This, by the way, is the IP address of the router. Okay, this is the router's IP address here. So that's the branch office. Okay. As you can see, we are now 16% completed. Let's do the same thing for PC1 here. Go to the desktop tab, IP configuration, turn on DHCP, and you'll see PC1 is 172.16.1.2. Again, take a look at your completion rate. It's at 33%. Now, we can also use the command line to get the same information. So if we go to PC0, desktop tab, click on the command prompt, we're going to type in ipconfig/all. This is what you would do in Windows, right? So there's the IP address assigned to PC0. There's the subnet mask. There's the IP address of the router or the default gateway. So we need this information for the server config, right? We also want to see if we can connect to PC1 from PC0 here. And here's what we'll do. If I click on PC0, I go back to the command prompt. Let me get out of this real quick. I can try to ping PC1, and I happen to know the IP address of PC1. You'll see that the ping test works here. Okay, that's all we need. And that's basically it, right? That's pretty much all there is to it. So you can see that we're almost 4 minutes into this activity, and all that's left to do is just to set up the server. Okay, so let's click on the server. Again, go to the desktop tab and go to IP configuration. Now, in the instructions, they actually tell us what we need to enter here. Okay, so the IP address of the server is 172.16.1.100. Now, the reason why we're using a static IP address is because if we have a server on the network, we want to make sure that we can always connect to that server. If we have DHCP for the server, that means the IP address is not always going to be the same. And the idea of having a server on the network is for that particular computer to provide a service to the other machines, whether it's setting up a file or print server. So we want to make sure that it always has the same IP address. Okay, I hope this makes some sense here. All right, so we have the IP address. The subnet mask is 255.255.255.255.0. Now, what you saw, okay, watch this. Let me get this out of here. What you saw was that after I set up the IP address, they autofill the subnet mask, but it's not always going to be correct. Okay, so you want to take a moment and make sure that it's the correct subnet mask. Now you'll see we're at 66% completion. The default gateway is just the IP address to the router, right? 172.16.1.254. And then finally, we have a custom DNS server that we're using, 209.165.200.226. Okay, so the information we need for the server is provided. And at this point, we are now done with the activity. We have 100% completion, folks. All right, so let's go ahead and turn this in. Well, how do we do that? I'm going to launch Microsoft Word and create a blank document. This is participation 3, and you'll provide your name. Okay, again, in this case, I'm Professor Almeida. Now, in the taskbar, you'll see that I've pinned the Snip and Sketch app. Okay, so let me go ahead and open that up. You can do a search for Snip and Sketch, by the way, if you can't find it. And let me get this set up before we take the screenshot. Okay, so all you need right here is just this window, or if you'd like, you can check results and go to assessment items. Right, here it is. Congratulations, Professor Almeida, you completed the activity. Right, you can take a screenshot of this, or you can take a screenshot of this window here. And here's what you'll do. Go to Snip and Sketch, click New, and then take a window snip, and then just click on the window just like that. Okay, and from here, you'll copy, go to your Word doc, and paste it in. Now, if this doesn't work for whatever reason, you can save this screenshot, and then in Word, you go to the Insert tab, Illustrations group, click on Pictures, insert picture from this device, and then just go find your screenshot. Okay, so you can give me this screenshot, or again, you can check results, go to assessment items, right? And then again, let me show you how to take that screenshot. New, window snip, boom, and then just copy and paste it in. And then from there, save your Word doc and then turn it in to the Participation 3 assignment. So that's all there is to Packet Tracer, folks. As you can see, it didn't take very long once we got started. Again, this is a very important skill to have if you are taking the Cisco track. Anyway, good luck on this. It shouldn't take you more than a few minutes. It's for participation points. If you have questions, make sure you reach out to me. Good luck, folks, and take care. Have a good one.